When a woman is about to be blessed with something profound, something far greater than she has yet imagined, life whispers before it announces. The divine does not knock loudly on the door, prepares her quietly through signs that only the still-hearted can recognize. The first sign is a subtle restlessness. Even when life appears full, she begins to feel empty in places she once called home. This is not dissatisfaction. It is her soul stretching, sensing that what is coming is too vast for the space she currently occupies. It is a signal that expansion is near. When a woman is on the edge of a divine blessing, the first sign is often a deep, unshakable restlessness. It is not the kind of restlessness that arises from external circumstances, but a quiet stirring from within. Even when life looks perfect on the surface, relationships are stable, work is consistent, and routines are flowing, she begins to feel unsettled. There is a growing sense that she is meant for something more, something different. She cannot yet define what that more truly is. This feeling is not rooted in dissatisfaction or ingratitude. It is spiritual awakening, a signal that the soul is preparing for elevation. She may begin to notice that the very things which once brought comfort now feel small, limiting, or even meaningless. Her old goals don't excite her the same way. Conversations she once enjoyed now feel shallow. Environments that once offered peace begin to feel confining. This is not failure. This is evolution. The restlessness does not scream. It whispers. It nudges her at night when everything is quiet. It speaks in the silence between her thoughts. It is the soul's language, beyond logic and explanation. This inner stirring causes her to question her path. It makes her curious, leads her to explore new ideas, seek deeper knowledge, or turn inward in meditation or prayer. She may begin to withdraw, not from people in a harmful way, but from distractions. She starts craving authenticity, truth, and clarity. This is the seed of transformation. In many traditions, it is understood that when the soul is ready to grow, it first becomes uncomfortable in its current space. Just as a snake must shed its skin to grow, a woman must outgrow her old self to receive what is new. That is why this first sign is so powerful. It does not come to destroy her peace, to awaken her from the sleep of comfort. It does not come to bring fear, but to spark preparation. It tells her that life is shifting, not against her, but for her. This phase may feel confusing because it offers no clear map, only a compass. That compass is her inner knowing, a subtle direction pointing her toward change. Often, she may resist this feeling at first. She may try to busy herself, rationalize her emotions, or cling to what has always been. But the restlessness grows. And that is how she knows it is not passing emotion. It is divine preparation. It is life's way of clearing her path and prompting her to look beyond the obvious. This is the moment she must pause, listen, and trust, because something big is approaching. And before it arrives, she must make space. Space within her mind, her heart, and her spirit. The restlessness is not the beginning of chaos. It is the beginning of alignment. And once she embraces it, she moves closer to the life that was always meant for her. The second sign that a woman is being prepared for something extraordinary is the quiet emergence of isolation. It is not always dramatic or painful, but it is noticeable. People she once spent time with begin to fade into the background. Invitations decrease. Conversations feel different, and sometimes she finds herself surrounded by others yet feeling completely alone. This isolation is not a punishment. It is a sacred invitation. Life is gently removing distractions and noise, giving her space to reconnect with her essence. It is in solitude that she begins to hear what the busy world drowned out. She starts to notice her thoughts more clearly, feel her emotions more deeply, and sense a calling that words cannot describe. This space of aloneness is often misunderstood. In a world that constantly encourages connection and social validation, being alone can feel like a void. But in truth, it is a womb, a place of rebirth. The isolation is not meant to break her spirit, but to rebuild it. She is not being forgotten. She is being refined. When the voices of the world grow silent, the voice within her begins to grow louder. She discovers parts of herself she had neglected, passions she had silenced, and dreams she had buried. The stillness becomes her teacher. In this season, many women begin to question their worth. They wonder if something is wrong, if they have failed, or if they are no longer needed. But this thinking is based on old conditioning, the idea that value is proven through business and connection. The truth is far more powerful. This isolation is evidence that something sacred is unfolding. It is a time for alignment, clarity, and preparation. The woman is not being hidden because she is forgotten. She is being hidden because she is being made whole. In isolation, a new strength is born. She begins to see how much she depended on the opinions of others, how easily she was pulled by the energy around her. Now, without that influence, she can see herself clearly. She begins to choose differently, speak differently, move differently. She becomes rooted in her own truth, not the expectations of the world. This grounded energy is what prepares her to carry the weight of the blessing that is coming. What she builds in silence will support her in the spotlight, and slowly the isolation becomes empowerment, transforms from a void into a sanctuary. She learns to enjoy her own company, value her own voice, and follow her own guidance. She begins to feel less lonely and more whole. This is a shift from dependence to divine connection. And when she emerges from this season, and she will be more aligned, more awakened, and more ready than ever before. Because the woman who learns to be alone without being lonely is the woman who can never be controlled by the world. She will not chase. She will not beg. She will walk in purpose, and the world will respond. Another unmistakable sign that a woman is being prepared for a divine blessing is when things in her life begin to fall apart. At first glance, may seem like everything is going wrong. The job she once loved becomes unfulfilling. Friendships that felt unbreakable begin to dissolve. Through the power habits she once found comfort in no longer serve her. The familiar starts to crumble, often without warning. This falling away is not destruction, it is divine clearing. Life is not working against her, removing what cannot exist in the next chapter. She is being emptied to be filled with something greater. This process can be painful. Letting go is never easy, especially when she has grown attached to people, roles, and routines that once served her well. Growth demands release. There is no room for the new when the old still occupies space. The falling away is necessary, even if it comes with grief, confusion, or resistance. It teaches her detachment, not from love, but from attachment to what is temporary. It is the universe's way of saying, this will not carry you where you're going. But during this season, she may try to hold on. She might attempt to fix broken things or revive connections that are clearly fading. But the more she resists, the more exhausting it becomes. Eventually, she must surrender, and in that surrender, a quiet wisdom emerges. She begins to understand that not all endings are failures. Some are sacred conclusions. Chapters must close for her story to move forward. What breaks away now is not meant to break her. It is meant to liberate her. This period of falling away also reveals what is real. The people who remain without conditions. The habits that nourish rather than distract. Truths that withstand the shaking. It is in the absence of excess that she sees what truly matters. And in that clarity, she begins to rebuild. This time with intention. She starts to create from a deeper place, no longer driven by fear, ego, or expectation. Her choices become reflections of her future, not her past. Though painful, this phase is sacred. It is a stripping of false identities, old beliefs, and emotional weight. It is the uprooting of what no longer aligns with her soul's purpose. She may not see the blessing yet. It is on the way, shaped perfectly to fit the woman she is becoming. And when it arrives, she will understand why the old had to fall. Because she will not just be receiving something new, she will be someone new, transformed by fire, purified by release. This falling away is not the end. It is the beginning of truth. A divine sign that she is being prepared to receive not just a blessing through the path, but the kind of life that is built on alignment, purpose, and strength. And what is meant for her will come, not to the version of her that once was, but to the version she is now becoming. Path to a divine blessing continues to unfold. A woman may begin to notice a shift in her internal awareness. Her intuition sharpens, her sensitivity deepens, and she becomes more attuned to energies, environments, and emotions. This heightened sense is not a coincidence. It is a sacred activation. Her spirit is awakening to what cannot be seen with the physical eyes. She begins to perceive the world with more clarity, picking up on subtle signs, patterns, and truths that previously went unnoticed. What once seemed ordinary now holds deeper meaning, and what once felt acceptable now feels misaligned. This is the fourth sign, an inner knowing rising like a quiet tide, guiding her without words. This intuitive awakening does not always come with thunder and lightning. It often begins in small moments. A feeling in her gut that something isn't right. A sudden urge to walk away from situations that no longer serve her. An inexplicable pull toward people, ideas, or places that align with her soul. She may find herself speaking less and listening more, not just to others, but to her own spirit. Her dreams may become more vivid. Her silence becomes richer, her discernment becomes sharp. There can be discomfort in this awakening. She might feel overly sensitive. The path, even fragile at times, places and people she once enjoyed may now feel draining. The conversations she once tolerated may now feel heavy or meaningless. This is because her inner world is refining itself. Her vibration is shifting. She is no longer a match for what was once part of her lower self, running through the path. And that disconnection is not something to fear. It is a signal that growth is happening. The woman she is becoming requires a different environment, a different level of truth, and a different kind of energy. During this phase, begins to trust herself more. Not because of external validation, but because her soul confirms what her eyes cannot see. She stops second-guessing her decisions. She becomes less interested in opinions and more interested in alignment. Her spirit becomes her compass, running through the path. And she realizes that the most powerful answers do not come from others. They rise from within. This intuitive strength becomes one of her greatest tools, allowing her to navigate life with depth and wisdom. This heightened awareness is a sign that she is being positioned for something sacred. A woman cannot receive what she is not prepared to recognize. Intuition prepares her for recognition, running through the path. It tunes her frequency so that when the blessing comes, she knows it, not with logic, but with absolute clarity. She won't question if it's for her. She will feel it resonate in her bones. She will say yes, not because it makes sense to the mind, but because it speaks to her soul. In this season, her sensitivity is not weakness, it is strength. It is guidance. It is sacred preparation. And the more she honors it, the clearer her path becomes. When a woman is approaching a divine blessing, it is not uncommon for her to face unexpected and even overwhelming challenges. These obstacles may come in the form of emotional turmoil, setbacks in her plans, unexpected loss, or internal battles that seem to arise from nowhere. But this is not chaos without purpose. This is the fifth sign, the divine resistance that strengthens her soul. These challenges are not meant to break her down, but to build her up. They are not punishments. They are preparation. Like heat purifies gold and pressure forms diamonds through the pack. Difficulty shapes the woman who is destined to carry something extraordinary, running through the pack. This stage can feel confusing because it seems to arrive just when she is trying to move forward. She may ask herself why everything is suddenly so difficult, why doors are closing, why people are walking away through the park, why fear or doubt seem louder than before. But this intensity is evidence that she is on the verge of something important. The old must be tested before the new can be trusted. And so she is given circumstances that refine her strength, purify her intentions, and elevate her awareness. These challenges reveal where she still holds fear, where she still clings to control, where her faith is still dependent on comfort. Life, in its wisdom, does not send challenges to punish. It sends them to awaken. Then the woman being prepared for a great blessing must be able to stand not just in light, but in shadow. She must know her own power, not only in ease, but in resistance. And through these trials, she discovers it piece by piece, step by step, running through the power to endure, the power to let go, the power to rise without needing applause or agreement. Through the pack. What makes this season sacred is not the absence of struggle, but the birth of resilience. She begins to see that difficulty did not come to destroy her, but to teach her discipline. She realizes that what used to trigger her no longer shakes her the same way. She becomes patient with uncertainty, anchored in storms, and committed to growth. Every setback becomes a lesson, every delay a redirection. She stops asking, why me? And starts asking, what is this here to teach me? As this transformation unfolds, she becomes more than just ready for the blessing. She becomes worthy of it. Because now she can carry it with humility, with wisdom, with strength. She has earned it not through ease, but through endurance. And when the blessing arrives, it does not surprise her. It feels familiar, because in the fire, she became the version of herself capable of holding it. In this stage, the challenge is not the enemy. It is the training ground, and every woman who passes through it emerges not only closer to her blessing, but more connected to her purpose. The weight she once resented becomes the very strength that lifts her into the life she was always meant to live. As the journey continues and a woman draws near to the blessing designed for her, she begins to feel a deep, unexplainable hunger for purpose. This desire rises from within, not created by external achievements or worldly success, but from a sacred longing to live with meaning. This is the sixth sign. The pursuits that once brought her pleasure now empty. The routines that once kept her comfortable now feel lifeless. There is a yearning to connect her life to something greater than herself. She no longer wants to simply exist. She wants to live intentionally, to know that her time, energy, running the park, and presence are contributing to something that truly matters. This inner calling can feel like a quiet H. She, the part, may not yet know what her purpose is, but she knows that what she is currently doing is not enough. There is a sense that she was made for more, not in a prideful sense, but in a deeply spiritual one. Her soul begins to whisper that her gifts were not given to be hidden, that her story was not meant to be silenced. Her existence has a divine role to play in the unfolding of this world. She begins to feel pulled toward growth, creativity, service, or transformation. With this longing comes discomfort. She becomes less tolerant of environments that suppress her voice, relationships that belittle her potential, and tasks that drain her spirit. She may begin to feel restless in her current job, unfulfilled in old circles, or out of place in situations that once felt safe. This is not confusion. It is clarity in disguise. Through the park, Her soul is guiding her away from what no longer fits and toward a life that aligns with her deeper truth. This phase is often accompanied by questions. Why am I here? What do I have to offer? What difference can I make? These questions are not signs of being lost. They are signs of awakening. Purpose is not always found in big, dramatic revelations. Often, it begins in small, sincere shifts. A new desire to help others, pull toward creativity, a deeper commitment to healing, or a willingness to follow intuition. She may find herself reading more, journaling more, praying more, seeking answers that only a quiet soul can receive. The desire for purpose marks a sacred turning point. It means she is no longer satisfied with surface-level living. She is searching for depth, for alignment through the pack, for a reason to rise each morning beyond survival. And this longing is proof that she is getting closer to her blessing. Because the kind of blessing she is about to receive is not just for her comfort. It is for her calling. It is meant to flow through her, not just to her, and only a woman who seeks meaning can carry such a responsibility with grace. This hunger for purpose is not a problem to fix. It is a signal to follow, a divine compass pointing her toward the life she was always meant to live. A life where every step, every breath, and every choice becomes part of something beautifully intentional. As the final and most mysterious sign emerges, a woman begins to experience peace. Not because her circumstances have calmed, but because something within her has settled. This peace is unlike anything she has known before. It exists in the midst of uncertainty, in the middle of change, even when logic suggests she should be afraid. It is a stillness that cannot be shaken by the external world. This is the seventh signing, divine assurance. When a woman is about to receive something big, she starts to carry a quiet confidence, a power, a calm rooted in her soul rather than her situation. This peace does not come from having all the answers. In fact, many questions may still remain. The future may still be unclear, but she feels grounded. She may not know how things will unfold. She is no longer panicking. She no longer feels the need to chase, to force, or to control every outcome. Instead, she trusts. She surrenders, not because she has given up, but because she has grown up spiritually. She knows that the blessing that belongs to her cannot miss her. What is meant for her will arrive in divine timing. This internal peace is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the product of everything she has walked through. The restlessness that woke her, the solitude that shaped her, the losses that refined her, the intuition that guided her, the trials that trained her, and the purpose that called her forward. Through it all, she has been strengthened. Through it all, she has been prepared. And now she no longer seeks proof. She carries knowing. The knowing that she has done the inner work, faced the difficult truths, and become the version of herself that is ready to receive. She begins to live with more presence, less urgency, more gratitude. She smiles without reason. She listens more deeply. She responds with grace. Her energy feels different, calm but powerful, gentle but firm. She is no longer easily shaken by negativity or distractions. What once disturbed her now barely moves her. She has built a sanctuary within herself that the world cannot access. And from that place, she begins to walk differently, speak differently, and carry herself with quiet power. This piece is the final preparation. It is confirmation that she is aligned with the path ahead. The woman who walks in peace no longer needs validation. She no longer begs for signs. She is the sign. She is the evidence of transformation, the reflection of trust, the embodiment of faith. She becomes magnetic, not because of what she does, but because of who she is. She attracts blessings not by chasing, but by being, because now she is in harmony with her destiny. This is not the end of her journey, it is the threshold. And when the blessing arrives, It will not overwhelm her. She will welcome it like an old friend, because she will recognize it by the peace that arrived first. Peace was the promise. The blessing is simply the fulfillment.